It's rare that we have public servants under investigation for misusing their office.
Right now at 6, a grand jury indicts Tina Peters for tampering with election equipment.
I have not seen anything like this come through my office before.
What this means for her political aspirations moving forward.
Colorado could be the answer to our country's gas strain.
I would argue we are producing oil and natural gas cleaner, better, and safer than most anywhere on the planet.
And while it sounds like an easy answer, several hurdles remain.
And first tonight, we have a Denver 7 weather action day in effect for snow falling across the Front Range. Our Mile High camera shows some accumulations there on I-25 right now. Traffic's moving. Snow is falling in downtown Denver. Of course, conditions are much worse in the high country. Look at this. I-70 moving so slowly. This is just west of Vail. Good evening, and thank you for watching Denver 7 News at 6. I'm Ann Trujillo.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. We have team coverage for you tonight. Mike Nelson tracking the snow totals. We're going to start with SLOAN DICKEY out in the middle of it in downtown Denver. SLOAN?
Yeah, it's moving quite slowly here on Spear Boulevard as well. As you can see behind me, cars are moving through just about an inch of snow that has settled onto Spear Boulevard. We spoke with some snow management companies and they said they're going to be clearing the snow and putting that snow melt on top of it to make sure that your commute is a little bit less slippery. However, they did say that with the supply chain strains, those roads might be slippery as they run thin on the snow melt.
All of us snow fighters out here are doing everything that we can to keep people and property safe, but the reality of it is what we're up against right now is difficult.
Now, that was Snow Management Services, and they did say they do have enough snow melt for this storm, but if those supply chain strains continue, we could be seeing some more slippery roads. And now for a look at these cold temperatures and how they will be impacting your commute, here is Denver 7's Mike Nelson.
Thanks, Sloan. Let's start out in Boulder, where the National Weather Service office had about 4.3 inches of snow. On the north side of Boulder, they had about 3.5, so we'll round it to about 4 on the Pearl Street Mall. Very cold temperatures along with the snow. 7 currently in Denver, 10 at Greeley and Fort Collins, and we're expecting the readings to drop down near 0 by tomorrow morning. And it's already below 0 on the wind chill. 8 below on exposed skin in Denver, -9 at Akron, 10 below up at Cheyenne. We have winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings in effect. The brunt of this storm is starting to move a little farther to the east, so the advisories will continue overnight until 5 a.m. But then the main snow, you can see those darker colors here, starting to drift a little farther to the east, and that's where it's going to be really tough going, is out on Highway 36, perhaps 70 as well, 34 to the north, and we will see a lot of snow in Kansas, where I think I-70 will be closed tonight. So the heavy snow heading east, slick and cold tonight, light snow tomorrow morning, much warmer weather coming this way for the weekend.
All right, thank you, Mike. We'll see you in a little bit. Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters is in jail at last check this evening after turning herself in. Today, a grand jury indicted her and one of her employees on a number of charges related to tampering with elections equipment. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon has a look at just what the indictments claim happened while security cameras had been turned off.
Not seen anything like this come through my office before.
District Attorney Dan Rubenstein talked us through a grand jury indictment that took around 2 months, related to allegations of election equipment tampering and official misconduct from the Mesa County clerk and deputy clerk.
I believe my community has confidence in me that this is not politically motivated and is simply motivated by the facts.
Arrest warrants for both Tina Peters and Belinda Nisley show a slew of charges. Peters facing 10 counts, Nisley has 6 counts. The most serious charges, those Class 4 felonies for attempting to influence a public servant. The maximum sentence for those could be 6 years.
It is not a mandatory sentence crime, meaning that the judge could, if she's found guilty, impose anything from probation up to prison.
In August of last year, the Secretary of State's office found out confidential pictures of Mesa County's Dominion voting systems equipment and passwords had been posted online.
We believe we know who leaked the passwords, who is actually filming them. That is not part of any of our charges. It's not necessary for our charges, but we do believe we know who did that.
To understand what prosecutors say happened, we need to go back to April 2021, when they say Peters and Nisley devised a deceptive scheme that set all this in motion. Go to May 14th. Peters apparently asked to create a login and email address for a man named Gerald Wood, saying he worked for the state. But later in the indictment, it says Wood was never employed by the state or hired by Mesa County. A few days later, Nisley says he'll be the third member of the county staff present during the upgrade of election software. Then, on the 23rd and 25th, during the upgrade, Peters introduced a person she said was Wood to other employees. But the real Wood told the grand jury he wasn't there and had already turned his access badge back in, meaning someone else must have used it. Do we know who that person that was in the room posing as Gerald Wood, who that is?
I can't comment on that right now.
We tried calling Wood, but no answer. Peters is still running for Secretary of State, a position currently filled by Jenna Griswold.
The indictment does not preclude a person from candidacy in Colorado, and that's the phase we're in right now.
Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Now, leaders of Colorado's Republican Party are urging Peters to suspend her campaign for Secretary of State. They say she should do what's best for the party amid these legal challenges. Her lawyer tells us he believes evidence will show Peters acted properly in her role as clerk.
Current Secretary of State Jenna Griswold says her office has received hundreds, if not thousands, of threats over election security over these past 2 years. And yesterday she testified during a committee hearing for Senate Bill 133. It would provide security for certain elected officials. And Griswold says it could encourage more people to run for office.
I was at an event in December, and a woman around my age said to me, you know, I was really interested in running for the state house, but I have an 8-year-old son. And I see the threats you get, and I just can't do it to my family. As just the 10th woman elected to statewide constitutional office in Colorado's history, I think it's really important that we recognize this as a barrier for women serving in office, but also an attack on democracy.
Security would be provided through Colorado State Patrol. The bill passed with some amendments in a committee hearing yesterday.
Colorado law enforcement agencies are being asked to help Ukrainian forces fight Russia. The state now is looking for any surplus body armor or ballistic helmets. These are just some of the items the Department of Public Safety is donating. Donations are being accepted at armories all over the state through next Monday. And this is important. They will not accept donations from the general public.
Oil and gas drilling strikes a nerve in Colorado. There are those who say not in my backyard. Others say it's a critical resource that we haven't fully tapped into yet. With gas prices rising, companies are now looking at how they can be part of the solution. Here is Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez.
Colorado is the leading oil and gas producer in the country, and the industry believes it could be doing more to alleviate the current strain on supply.
Looking at these higher prices, why don't you just drill more and produce more oil? And it's a pretty complicated answer.
Dan Haley with the Colorado Oil and Gas Association says the state could increase the supply of gasoline for cars as well as natural gas, but added the state needs to process and approve drilling permits.
We know we need oil and natural gas for decades to come in this country. So we need to have that conversation, and we need to have a decision to say, where do you want to get this resource from? Do you want to rely on Russia, or do you want this product to be produced here in this country and in Colorado?
During a press conference Tuesday, President Biden said there are more than 9,000 onshore drilling permits already approved, but they haven't been used. Governor Polis says many of those are in Colorado.
There's over 2,000 in Colorado that have been approved and haven't been used. It's really a matter of when and how the industry chooses to invest and raise capital. Certainly, if oil prices are sustained at over $100 a barrel for a long period of time, it'll lead to increased production.
But Kathleen Scammo with the Western Energy Alliance says receiving a permit is only one part of it.
A permit to drill is not the only permit we need on federal lands. We need rights of way to put in place pipelines and natural gas gathering lines. Because of regulators and market signals.
The industry is also in need of more money.
If we can't get capital, then we can't develop wells because they're multi-millions of dollars to develop any given well.
Governor Polis, along with other governors, say an immediate solution to help ease economic impacts is for Congress to suspend the federal gas tax.
Reduce the gas tax 18.6 cents per gallon. That'll provide some relief at the pump and make sure that we can continue to pressure Putin to end his invasion of Ukraine.
While instant relief is necessary for many Coloradans, the governor stresses this crisis is also an example of the country's need to rapidly move to renewable energy. Ivan Rodriguez, Denver 7.
Over the past 2 months, we have seen the generosity of Coloradans helping those impacted by the Marshall Fire. And today we met some of the youngest to help. First grade students at Meadowlark Elementary in Erie have been busy creating art. That art was then sold to the community. And in all, the kids were able to raise more than $9,000 for those in need.
Today was just so special because these 6-year-olds have been working this entire time to try and help their neighbors, and they're so excited about it and they're so proud of what they accomplished, and they raised a lot of money.
Very impressive. And all that money is going to Impact on Education's Fire Fund that benefits Boulder Valley students and staff impacted by the fire.
Colorado hoped to make good on past inequities in the pot industry.
We're requiring stores to work with social equity, transporters, delivery companies.
Dispensaries aren't on board yet.
If they just gave us a chance and listened to our ideas and our visions, I think that we can come together.
Plus, the Broncos' ticket to relevancy has arrived in Denver.